Jesus and his miracles. Miracles according to the scholarly interpretation of the Qur'an. This is a long video but is necessary to show the depths one must go to extract the truth of a matter. Every scholar who mentions Jesus and his miracles says something like this. Jesus raised the dead by God's leave, made the deaf hear, the blind see and the cripples walk by God's leave. By God's leave, it is believed that God performed miracles through Jesus. Miracles are not validated by either the Qur'an or the natural order of this universe as created by Allah. On the intellectually lacking surface, verses of the Qur'an may be produced to say otherwise. For example, the Quranic miracles of Jesus.
And appoint him an apostle to the children of Israel. With this message, I have come to you, with a sign from your Lord, in that I make for you out of clay, as it were, the figure of a bird, and breathe into it. And it becomes a bird by Allah's leave, and I heal those born blind, and the lepers, and I quicken the dead, by Allah's leave, and I declare to you what ye eat, and what ye store in your houses, surely therein is a sign for you if ye did believe.
Miracles according to the Qur'an.
They swear by God that if a miracle comes to them, they would then believe in it. The book, say, all miracles are with God. If you reflect on the universe, what can make you understand that even if a physical miracle came to them, they would find other excuses and still not believe? Our laws keeps their hearts and their eyes turned away from the truth. Since they have preemptively rejected it, the Qur'an, we let them wander blindly in their rebellious attitude. Even if we caused the angels to descend to them, and the dead to speak to them, and lined up all the miracles before them, they would not believe. People can be guided only according to God's laws, but most of them choose the way of ignorance.
Change less laws, no violations.
Those who accept the message and live upright, there is good news for them in this world and in the hereafter. God's words never change. This is the supreme triumph, and changeless are his laws, and you will never find even a slight turn in his laws. Let not their utterances sadden you, O messenger. To God belongs all honor. He is the hearer, the knower. No power, glory, or honor is attainable contrary to his laws. To God belongs whoever is in the heavens and whoever is on earth. What do the ones who worship his partners instead of God follow? They follow nothing but conjecture, and themselves do nothing but make wild guesses.
We will now look at what, who and how are cured, the Quranic medicine. And no, writing 786 is not a miraculous cure. Curing the blind.
When it is said to them, follow what God has revealed, they say, nay. We will follow the ways of our ancestors. What? Even though their ancestors and the ancient imams were lacking in understanding and were not rightly guided. The likeness of such blind followers is that of a herd of sheep which hear the shepherd's call, but hear in it nothing more than a sound and a shout, deaf, dumb, blind, for they do not use their reason. This is subhuman level of existence. Shepherd's call. Shepherd here pertains to religious leaders who have learned some meaningless words or tenets, and a herd of sheep is the masses that blindly follow them. Kufr embraces blind following in addition to denying, opposing, or concealing the truth. Perceptual senses alone cannot distinguish human beings from the rest of the animal kingdom. It is the intellectual analysis that sets them apart.
The purpose of every messenger is to teach the message given to them by Allah to their people who are not aware of the truth because of the mass deception of the religious, political and capitalist shepherds. The usual response is to deny the message due to falsely accepting what they have been given by their ancestors, which is also attacked in the Qur'an. Summun bukmun umyun, deaf, dumb and blind. From the above, this is not to be taken literally but metaphorically for those who cannot see the truth, speak or hear it. They cannot reason or think for themselves. It is easy to deceive these masses.
About delegating political authority, remember that among mankind there is he whose chatter on worldly affairs dazzles you, and he keeps swearing by God about what is in his heart, and he is exceedingly skillful in contending for his viewpoint. As soon as he attains political power, he goes all out spreading corruption on earth. His authority results in destruction of creation, the produce of land and labor, and the damage he does affects generations, whereas God does not love corruption and disorder. It is said to him, "Be mindful of God," his false pride plunges him further down in inhumanity. Well, sufficient will be hell for him. What a cradle of despondence.
So blind in the Qur'an is about mental blindness, unable to see the truth, and deafness is not able to hear or understand the truth. The lepers. From the Lugat, the root of the word for leper means al-baras, the white spot which appears on one's body due to some disease such as leprosy. Al-biras is desert lands which do not have any cultivation, barren land. The barasal baralul are the camel grazed all the grass and didn't leave anything on the ground. The lepers. The Quran says that those who are far away or keep away from the teachings of Allah will not be able to find their way in life, lost, dejected, shunned, just like lepers were left to rot alone. The fruits of their false labor will be rotten, come to naught. Contrary to this, it describes those who do good amongst all peoples as having the rewards they have rightly earned. This is amply depicted in the following set of verses.
His rules are operative in the entire universe. Unto God belongs all that is in the highs and all that is in the lows, and all things are constantly working to fulfill the divine plan, moving and evolving toward what they are meant to be. All affairs turn to God in order that the incredible discipline in the universe be maintained. Since you have been empowered by the Quran, you are the best suited community that has been raised up for the good of mankind. You shall enjoin the right and discourage the wrong, since you have conviction in God. Now if the people of the scripture had attained this kind of belief, it would have been for their own good. Some of them do embrace belief while most of them continue to drift away. Believers accept the Quran as the criterion of right and wrong. It educates people on the permanent moral value system and distinguishes clearly what the otherwise vague terms of right and wrong, and good and evil would mean. They will do you no harm except for a trifling inconvenience, and if they fight against you, they will turn their backs to you and then they will find no helpers. Humiliation will be branded on them wherever they might be, unless they grasp a bond with God and a bond with humanity. They have earned God's condemnation and are committed to an abject state of misery. This is because they have been rejecting God's messages and have been opposing the prophets, even slaying some of them against all right. All this because they disobeyed, rebelled, and exceeded the bounds of what is right. Are not all alike. Among the people of the scripture there are those who take a firm stand for the right cause, reflect on the revelations of God all night long and submit in adoration. They have conviction in God and the last day. They advocate virtue by example, and forbid all vice by example. They race with one another in acts of collective good. It is they who enrich the society, increase human potential, and these are among the righteous. Salihin embraces all three meanings given in the last sentence. The good they do, nothing will be rejected from them. God is aware of those who live a life upright. Muttaqeen, those who walk on a secure path. Those who seek to journey through life in security. The observant, those who live upright.
The raising of the waking dead.
He has the power to revive dead nations. Call on your Lord in humility and in private. He does not love those who forsake moderation. So, do not spread corruption on earth after it has been set in order. Call upon him in fear and hope. God's mercy is close to the benefactors of humanity. Fear the consequences of violating his commands and hope for his grace, since his promise is always true. He is the one who sends pleasant winds bearing good news of the forthcoming rain of his blessings. When the winds carry the heavy clouds, we drive them to a land that is dead. The water then causes all kinds of fruit and vegetation to sprout. This is how we can revive dead people and nations. Herein is a sign for those who pay heed. The land that has been well prepared springs up rich produce by the leave of its Lord. The land that has not been well prepared only yields scant vegetation. Similar is the situation of nations that wish to come back to life. They need reform at the grassroots level. This is how we explain our verses from various vantage points for those who are grateful to receive such clear guidance. Say, travel in the land and see what has been the end of the guilty, and grieve not for them, nor distress yourself because of their plots. And they say, when is this promise to be fulfilled? If you are men of truth, say, you are already going through some of the suffering you challenge. Your Lord is full of bounty to mankind, yet most of them are ungrateful. Your Lord knows what their hearts conceal, and all that they proclaim. And there is nothing hidden in the heaven and the earth, but it is in a clear record. This Quran explains to the children of Israel most of wherein they differ, such as the nature of Jesus. It is a guidance and grace for all who believe in it. Surely, your Lord will judge between them in his wisdom, for he is the mighty, the knower. So, put your trust in God alone, for you are taking stand on self-evident truth. But you cannot make the dead or the living dead hear, nor can you make the deaf of heart to hear the call when they turn back to retreat, nor can you lead the blind of reason out of their error. You can only make those hear who believe in our signs, so they submit. When the word comes to pass against them, we will cause the poor exploited ones to rise up, practically telling people that they did not have conviction in our messages. Dabatam Minit Alad applies to the humbled ones just as mountains in several places in the Quran indicate the elite. The common understanding of this term as a creature coming out of the earth, in my humble opinion, is incorrect. 4. Supernatural phenomena stand contrary to the changeless divine laws. The error is the result of trying to give literal meaning to an allegory in blind following of fabricated ahadith.
So the clear signs mentioned in 510 quoted earlier on being rejected by the people of Jesus and all other messages of Allah are not miracles but revelation, the knowledge, the way to reform themselves. The allegories of disease, blind, leper are not to be taken literally but are used to show what is wrong and what needs to be done to cure them. This is the beauty of the Quran, using stories that people believe about Jesus and turning them on their head and revealing the truth of the matter. This necessitates people to remove themselves from the indoctrinated beliefs they have been subjected to and see the light. If not, when they see "made the blind see," they take it literally as per false Bible stories and do not understand by God's leave. The clay birds of paradise. So stop beating around their bush. Here are the verses explaining their meaning.
He will be a messenger to the children of Israel. He will say to them, I come to you with revelation from your Lord. If you follow me, I will raise you from dust to the heights of glory by the command of God. The blind among you will begin to see the truth. Those of you who are spotted with sin, I will heal them, and I shall grant real life to those who are just dragging on without purpose, all by God's leave, according to his laws. I am here to establish justice and equity. I shall see to it how much you hoard in your houses and how much you spend on the community. My teachings are sufficient signs for you to believe. Confirm the truth in the Torah before me, and make permissible to you some of what was forbidden. I have come with your Lord's revelation. Be mindful of his commands and heed me. The Quran describes denial as a disease, calls the deniers deaf, dumb and blind in 2:18, diseased of the heart in 2:10, and dead in 27:80. That is why the revelation, which is the truth, is called a healing in 41:44. Tai, omen, destiny, registration of deeds, fleet-footed horse, bird. God is my Lord and your Lord, so obey him. That is the straight path. God will say, O Jesus, son of Mary, recall my blessings upon you and your mother. I strengthened you with Ru'ul Qudus, enabled you to speak eloquently to the people in childhood and at the advanced age. I gave you revelation and wisdom including the Torah and the Gospel. Recall that you told them that you would raise them from dust up into the heights of glory, by my leave. You made people see the truth otherwise given to blind following, by my leave. You healed the wounds of inequity on people, by my leave, and you gave a new meaning to life to those who were otherwise no better than dead, by my leave. Recall how I prevented the children of Israel from harming you when you came to them with all evidence of the truth. And those who were bent upon denying the truth said, this is nothing but clear deception.
The Quran Unchained.